Okay, video number 4. Okay, so I've been thinking about this today and tonight, what this video would be about, and we're calling it Narcissistic Mind Games. And I actually wrote down a whole list in a notebook, and I'm using this notebook to write letters to David. He'll never read it. I'm just doing it kind of for my own therapy. And eventually one day when I get to a really good healing point in my journey, I will burn these letters, or I'll burn this notebook, period. Just get rid of it. But so yeah, I started writing him letters. I just want to show you real quick a couple things. I'm not going to show the letters, of course, but look, I wrote positive reasons of being away from David. So I'm not going to put any cons down because that would just be contradicting myself. But yeah, these are all my positive reasons. So far I have this whole page filled, and so I'm going to be starting with number 28. So I have 27 positive reasons that I've thought of to be away from David. So I wanted to write down tonight narcissistic mind games. So mind games that I have felt like David has played with me throughout the 10 years of marriage. Again, I wrote it down. It's a whole page long. So I'm going to go through each one, and I'm going to discuss his mind game and, kind of how it made me feel. So the first one, and this one stems all the way back to the beginning of our marriage. Number one, he always made me feel like I was the guilty one. It was always my fault, never his fault. He was the victim, I was the guilty one, even though it's really vice versa. He's the guilty one, I was the victim in his game. Number two is with him going and being friends, quotation marks, friends, with these other women who would wander into his life, or the girl who blew up his phone when we got back to BYU, Idaho after we got married. He always told me that I was the jealous one. I was always jealous, and he always tried to show how much he wanted me and how much he loved me and appreciated me, but that wasn't true. I mean, yeah, in the beginning, he was always like, yeah, you're so beautiful, Rebecca, and I love you, and da-da-da-da-da. But actions speak louder than just the words. So I wasn't jealous. It was these women that he was friends with. They shouldn't have been in his life. And he should have put up a boundary. It's not jealousy. It was people inserting themselves into our marriage and gaining his attention. And I felt like I had to fight for his attention. And again, I was the jealous one. So, mind game. The third one is he hid things from me all the time. He wasn't honest about who he was talking with. I had to go search electronics, find it out myself, and when I confronted him about it, it was either I trusted him or I didn't. And trust is earned, it is not given. But with him, he was like, you must give me full trust. Always, all the time. It must be all or nothing for him. It was full trust or no trust at all. Even though, I was trying to hold him accountable. If I didn't believe it or believe him, that was on me. So, for example, I want to say it was April. He hadn't paid his phone bill, and because of that, his phone was shut off. And I didn't realize this. I was expecting him to call me on his lunch break when he was at work. I never got a phone call. So when we were on our family share plan at that time, I could GPS his phone. And I Googled it, and I made deathly sure that I could, even though his phone had no phone service to it at the time of day, per Apple on their website, because we have iPhones, it clearly states that even if you don't have service from your carrier, Apple has GPS tracking in the phone. So that phone can be tracked no matter what. And I tracked his phone to townhomes that were down the street from his job, like by at least a good half mile, maybe a little bit more. So his phone was at his job in Hiram at Mountain Fiber, and then he went on his lunch break, and all of a sudden his phone was at these townhomes a good half mile away. And then at the end of his lunch break, his phone was back to Mountain Fiber at his job in Hiram. I'm sorry. He was with some woman. I'm not stupid. And like I said, I researched it to death. And Apple has GPS in the phones. So even though you don't have service from your carrier, the phone can still be GPSed. So I'm not going to believe him. Like, he's not believable. He lied. He left his job, even though he's like, well, I was there. So if you don't believe me, that's on you. So again, making it my fault. He made me feel, this is number 6. He made me feel like I was crazy, or that I was going crazy for having these thoughts of not trusting him. Like, he was making me doubt myself and doubt my gut feeling and making me feel literally crazy. I kind of went over number 7. Everything was always my fault while he was the victim. Nothing was his fault. It was on me. Like, he would spin it around saying, well, I didn't do that. Or they're saying this, and they just want you to be mad at me, and I'm the victim, and oh goodness, it was just on and on. Back in May, when we were talking about splitting, he convinced me that I was holding myself back by staying with him and not divorcing him long ago. And thinking back on it, I'm like, I can't believe those words came out of my mouth. They did at the time, but I can't believe those words came out of my mouth. Because no, I wasn't holding myself back. I was fighting for my marriage. I was fighting for, for the man that I fell in love with. And I was fighting to keep that man. So I wasn't holding myself back at all. I was fighting for what I felt was right and felt was mine to have, because we promised each other to love each other forever. So, another mind game. And that was number 8. Let's see. Number 9. What he's doing, aka the cheating, so porn websites, having virtual sex with somebody, and talking to trashy women behind my back. He's not doing anything wrong. And again, it goes back to, I either trust him or I don't. Number 10, I either accept him for who he is or I don't accept him at all. So for me, again, it was like, okay, so I need to love him no matter what, and just continue pretending like this doesn't exist and ignoring it and thinking everything is hunky-dory. That's what he wanted me to do. And like, it's such like mind games. Let's see. Number 11. He accepts me no matter what, even though he wants the divorce. So if you want a divorce, how can you accept me? That doesn't make sense. You accept me, but you don't want to be with me anymore. Like, which one is it? One or the other, dude. Like, you can't have it both ways. Oh, this one's a good one. Number 12. Even though he has cheated and he sees nothing wrong with said cheating, he wants to remain friends. Just think on that for a second. He's a cheater, but there's nothing wrong with him cheating on me, but he wants to remain friends. Yeah, that's not happening. There's friendship's out the window. Like, you killed it. Even though he tells me that I'm his best friend in the whole world. And when he was in jail, he said it was a test that I proved myself as his best friend, and I passed said test. And so, because I stuck by him and I was so supportive, it showed to him that I was a true best friend. I'm pretty sure I showed that I was a true best friend long before he went to jail. He just didn't want to accept that. Mind game? I think so. Let's see. 13. He expects me to be civil in this divorce, which it's not happening. But when I want to discuss the finances, he constantly blocks and unblocks me. Like, it is a mind game with him. Like, he blocks me and then he unblocks me. And I know I told this in a previous video. And so when I notice he unblocks me, I'm like, okay, let me ask you a question about the finances. I ask the question, it says delivered. Next thing I know, he won't answer me. And he blocks me all over again. Like, he got us into this financial mess at the end of April. And yet, he doesn't want to discuss it. He doesn't want to speak with me. Which leads me to number 14. He ghosts me all the time. He's acting like I no longer exist in his life. He will not talk to me. I have tried to email him because also I want to know if he's gotten the divorce papers served to him. But again, I can't find out anything because he blocks me and he won't respond to my emails. I highly doubt he's even reading my emails. He's probably like, click delete. So again, he's playing a mind game with me in the worst way ever that he knows how now. When he went to jail a little over 5 years ago for inappropriately touching my niece, and she inappropriately touched him, and I was the rat who told on him. He states that he was falsely accused and he did absolutely nothing wrong. None of it was his fault, and he never should have went to jail. Let that soak in. So you inappropriately touch somebody who you have guardianship over, by the way. They didn't force his hands on her, or I should say she did not physically grab his hands and put them on her body. He chose to do that on his own. Nobody forced him. but yet he's falsely accused of these actions that he did do, but he should not have gone to jail and been in prison for 7 months. Again, it's a mind game. Let's see. Oh, this one, number 16. This one's a doozy. When he was in jail, I spent upwards around $5,000 in paying for him to get extra food on commissary, to get his vitamin and iron pill every day because he is anemic, and when you take an iron pill, you're supposed to take a vitamin C pill with it because the vitamin C helps the body to absorb the iron. So I did that. I put money on the phones so that way he could call me every single day. He got work release, but in order to start work release, he had to pay $300 down. Well, he's obviously not going to pay that $300. That's going to come out of me. So, cash cow that I was at the time, or the bank, whatever you want to call me, I put another $300 down so he could go into work release. So, oh, and then for him to be in work release, he needed his phone on. Well, who paid to put his phone back on? That'd be me. So, I did all this. I literally spent $5,000, possibly more. And he now says that I was not supportive of him. Sorry, Sadie's moving a little bit underneath the blanket. So, I gave him all this money, and yet I wasn't supportive of him. Yet I'm the one who picked him up from jail on October 9th of 2019 and took him home, bought him new clothes, made sure, to celebrate. He celebrated his birthday end of September in jail, but I made him an Oreo cheesecake, and so we celebrated a couple weeks later, which was fine. And I made him a nice dinner, brought him home, celebrated his birthday, made sure I went to his probation visit so he wouldn't have to go alone, and he felt that way he could feel supported. Yet I wasn't supportive. Mind game. So I've noticed all these. I'm sure I could come up with more mind game things that he played with me. But right now it's his blocking and unblocking and ghosting me, and he doesn't want to talk to me about what he's done, and he'll talk when he's ready. But I will say this: as soon as the divorce is finalized, I have no plans to talk to him ever again. Sadie, quit moving, baby. That ship has sailed. It has sailed, and it is going to sink, because I'm not revisiting his trauma bonds that he's created with me. I refuse to revisit. I need to start on my own healing journey, and that is going to be getting away from him and cutting ties to him and going our separate ways, even though we still have these finances. But if he's not willing to talk to me, he's gonna have to just figure it out on his own. And he has told me that he wants to worry about it and take care of it, which is fine. But I'm trying to do the right thing by saying, hey, I told you that I was gonna pay half, you would pay half. So I'm still trying to do the right thing, and he's avoiding me like a black plague. I just don't get it. So, anyways, I just wanted to come on and talk about narcissistic mind games and these mind games that David has played with me over the last 10 years of our marriage. And, like, writing them down, I'm like, holy garbage. I cannot believe, like, how much he's done to me, how much abuse he's put me through, and it's terrible. So, yeah, that's where I'm at this point. Anyways, thank you for listening to me. I hope you all have a wonderful night. I'm going to bed shortly. I've been up for almost 24 hours. And I hope everyone has a wonderful Sunday tomorrow. Talk to you later.